Admiral Krell stood on the command deck of the Imperial Dominance flagship of the Galactic Empire's 7th Fleet. Through the massive viewport, the blue-green sphere of Earth hung suspended against the blackness of space. Such a primitive world, yet so full of resources. The Empire needed those resources, and the humans would provide them, willingly or not. Open a communication channel to their global leadership, Krell ordered, his four-fingered hand adjusting the metals that adorned his gray uniform. The communications officer complied. Channel open, Admiral. Krell cleared his throat. People of Earth, I am Admiral Krell of the Galactic Empire. Your world has been deemed suitable for inclusion in our domain. You will surrender 10% of your annual global production of all resources, 20% of your rare metals, and 1 million of your kind for labor. Comply within one standard rotation or face the consequences. The transmission ended. Krell smiled. It was always the same. Primitive worlds cowered before imperial might. In the Empire's 1,000-year history, none had successfully resisted. In the United Nations Emergency Council chamber, representatives from Earth's nations sat in stunned silence. General Thomas was the first to speak. They've positioned 27 warships in high orbit. Our current military capabilities cannot match that firepower. What about diplomatic negotiations? Asked Representative Anna. Thomas shook his head. The Empire doesn't negotiate with worlds in our development stage. Their historical approach is simple: submit or be conquered. President Jack rubbed his temples. What are our options? Dr. Reynolds, head of the Global Defense Research Initiative, stepped forward. We have Project Prometheus. The room fell silent. It's untested, she continued, but the simulations are promising. Explain, ordered the president. Reynolds activated a holographic display. For decades, we've been developing defensive technologies in secret. Project Prometheus isn't a weapon in the traditional sense. It's a system designed to target the quantum signature of specific energy configurations, specifically the kind used in Imperial drive systems and weapons technology. How could we possibly know their technology? Anna asked. We didn't, until 50 years ago, when an Imperial scout ship crashed in the Pacific. We've been reverse engineering it ever since, preparing for this day. We knew they would come eventually. And Prometheus will do what exactly? Thomas asked. It creates a cascading quantum field that disrupts their energy systems. Their ships won't explode, they'll simply stop working. President Jack stood. Do it. Admiral Krell drummed his fingers on the armrest of his command chair. The deadline had passed with no response from Earth. Typical primitive defiance, he muttered. Prepare the orbital bombardment. Target their major military installations first, then government centers. Sir, his weapons officer called out, we're detecting unusual energy readings from the surface. Krell waved dismissively, probably powering up their primitive defenses. It will make no difference. The science officer turned from her console, concern etching her features. Admiral, these energy signatures are unusual. They appear to be generating a quantum field of some kind. Impossible, Krell snapped. Their technology is centuries behind. The ship lurched suddenly. Emergency lights activated as the main power flickered. Report, Krell demanded. Drive systems failing. Weapons offline. Sir, all systems are shutting down. Krell stared in disbelief at the tactical display. Not just his ship, but all Imperial vessels in orbit were experiencing the same catastrophic failures. Emergency power only, his first officer reported. Life support stable, but everything else is dead. A communication from Earth broke through on the emergency channel. A single human face filled the screen, President Jack. Admiral Krell, we've received your demands. Here is our response. Leave now and tell your Empire one thing. Earth is off limits. We could have disabled your life support as easily as your weapons. We chose not to. This is your only warning. The transmission ended, leaving Krell staring at a blank screen. Sir, his first officer whispered, what do we do? 3 days later, the Imperial ships limped away from Earth, using their emergency backup systems. Krell stood defeated on his bridge, Watching the blue planet recede on the view screen, his communications officer approached cautiously. Sir, the Imperial Council is demanding an explanation for our failure. Krell didn't turn around. Tell them Earth has protections beyond our understanding. Tell them we need to reassess. The Emperor will not be pleased. The Emperor wasn't here, Krell replied sharply. I've never seen technology like this. They could have killed us all, but they let us go. That's not the action of a weak species. As the Earth disappeared from view, Krell made a decision. In his report, he would recommend something unprecedented, that Earth be classified as a prohibited world, too dangerous to approach. Back on Earth, Dr. Reynolds stood with President Jack in the underground Prometheus facility, watching the Imperial fleets retreat on their monitors. Will they come back? The President asked. Reynolds nodded slowly. Eventually, but not soon and not unprepared. We've bought ourselves time. And we'll use it, Jack said firmly. Project Ares? Already in development, Prometheus was defensive. Ares will give us the ability to take the fight to them if necessary. Jack stared at the screen, watching as the last Imperial ship disappeared from their sensor range. They thought we would submit, offer tribute, become slaves. Instead, they learned something the Empire needs to understand. What's that, Mr. President? Humans don't bow. We don't break. And when threatened, we don't just defend. We prepare to strike back. He turned from the screen, begin full production of Prometheus systems for all Earth vessels, and accelerate Project Ares. When the Empire returns, Earth won't just be ready to survive. We'll be ready to win. In the depths of space, Admiral Krell's final order echoed through the retreating fleet. Set course for Imperial space. And pray the humans stay on their world. But deep down, he knew better. He had seen the look in the human president's eyes. Earth wouldn't stay contained. The Empire had awakened something dangerous, a species with both the will and the means to fight back. The Empire had demanded tribute. Earth had issued a warning, and the stars themselves would bear witness to what came next.